Hello, Hearthbounders. My name is Levi Sharp. My pronouns are he, him, and I am the sound designer of this wonderful show. I'm sorry I haven't introduced myself like this sooner and given you more behind-the-scenes content, but, I've been busy making the damn thing. I'm also doing a big sound designer no-no and recording myself right now with my air conditioner on, but it is just way too damn hot for me to do this without air conditioner on. So please bear with some, annoying ambient sound in the background. But I'm very excited to show you a little bit of what I've been doing. I recently sound designed a scene that happens in a much later episode. And I think it just illustrates just how much goes into or can go into just, a minute and a half of sound design for a show like this. And so let's just dive right in. I'm going to show you right here. This is the little bit of the script that you'll be listening to in a bit. Right here, we have Odessa, main character, saying, "I'm pulling in." Says a van drives onto the gravel, pulls into a stop. She says, "Do you smell that?" Cal, person riding with her, says, "Someone's grilling. Fuck, I'm hungry." Odessa, "Let's check it out." Cal, "Hell yeah." And then the van door opens. They hop out into the rain. Odessa says, "Stay here, boy," to Mac, the dog. And Mac, the dog, whines. They then walk up to a lodge. And as they approach, they hear the piano. And this is through the door of the lodge. And they push the door open. And you hear the piano some more. There's some low chattering, an occasional laugh, fireplace, yada, yada, yada. It's a lodge. Okay. So let's just listen to this. And I'm going to play the full, I think it's a minute and 18 seconds. And you'll get to hear what that script sounds like. So here's the Pro Tools session. Okay. Actually, before we do that, here's something fun. I'm just going to show you. So this highlighted part right here in the dark gray, that's what we're going to be listening to in a little bit. But let me just show you what this entire episode looks like. So here we go. Each one of these is a track, which has some audio on it. And, this episode is, looks to be about 18 minutes and 22 seconds. And, you can dig in here and see just how many little bits of sound go into each little moment. And that'll become more apparent as we listen to this little bit of audio. I'll also be scrolling down for you a little bit as we listen to it so that you can, catch the different sounds happening. And I'll also, while I'm breaking it down, isolate some moments so you can hear those sounds as they are by themselves. All right, so let's take a listen to this script. All right.
I'm pulling in. You smell that?
Someone's grilling. Fuck, I'm hungry.
Let's check it out.
Hell yeah.
Stay here, boy.
Okay. Now, we're going to listen to it one more time. I was trying to show you kind of where things were happening, but obviously, little bits of sound are happening everywhere. So I'm just going to go in the extra zoomed out version. And I don't think is there there's a little bit, but that's nothing. Okay. All right. So here we go. Let's listen to it one more time as you see it just fully zoomed out.
I'm pulling in. You smell that?
Someone's grilling. Fuck, I'm hungry.
Let's check it out.
Hell yeah.
Stay here, boy.
All right. So now you've heard it twice. Let's start picking it apart. Now, here, I guess I'll show the camera on me again. All right. So what I want you all to imagine for this scene is we have two people in the van. Odessa is driving. I have her a little bit on the left side in the ear. Cal's in the passenger seat. I have her on the right side. We're kind of looking at them from behind a little bit. If this was a movie or something. And they stop and they get up. They go walk the door of the van, the sliding door. Tell Mac to stay. They open it up. They hop outside. They start walking. Okay? So now let's go back here. And what do we have going on? All right. We have Odessa.
I'm pulling in.
Okay.
You smell that?
Someone's grilling. Fuck, I'm hungry.
Let's check it out.
Hell yeah.
Stay here, boy.
Okay. So the major thing here, when I'm building a little bit of sound like this, I'm imagining that space. All right. It's raining. They're in a van. The main thing I need to think about when I'm starting to build this sort of this sonic environment is, okay, what are the wide-ranging sounds that are happening? Right here in a van, then when it's raining, it's hearing the raindrops hitting the van, right? So I'm going to isolate that. Right, and that's sort of, we all know that sound. It's, water hitting some hollow metal, and, being a little reverberant, right? The next thing is, of course, what are the sounds that are happening a little closer? All right, we're pulling up, right, and we have, going to isolate this, rolling up on some gravel, you know. That was the car rolling up on some gravel, you know, and then here's a little, piano on the radio that they're listening to. This piano here, obviously, it's not going to sound like the piano is, live. It's going to sound a little kind of gritty. It's coming out of not so great speakers, so it's almost like audio out of your phone or something. See that it's like, kind of clips a little bit. It's a little bit crunchy. We can listen a little more. I have this piano getting a little louder as we're getting closer to the source of where this radio frequency is coming from, because in the audio, it's just going to come out more pronounced and clearer. And, outside of this, we have some window wipers going on. Obviously, it's raining. You can't drive without some windshield wipers going on. So let's listen to that. And, this is an old car, or old van rather. And so, I chose something that had a little squeak to it. It's like, it's not a pristine car where these would be working, just incredibly well. And plus, I think it gives it a little character to have something that's a little squeaky. All right. So, and then let's just hear the sounds of, the car stopping. Right? We have the bus turning off. You have the engine kind of, or bus, van, whatever. Engine turning off, kind of like, the turn of the key, the windshield wipers turn off. But obviously they're going to fall back into place before they completely just stop. And, the e-brake, love this sound. Yeah, such a good all right. So that's that. Now, we have them walk and open the van, right? We heard that. Or let's just do that one more time.
I'm pulling in. You smell that?
Someone's grilling. Fuck, I'm hungry.
Let's check it out.
Hell yeah.
Stay here, boy.
Okay. So for this, I want you to notice while that's going on, you might hear little shuffle sounds like this. That whoosh. I have little cloth sounds for movement that I throw in to indicate, different kinds of gestures. Say somebody throws something, you would have already heard some while the car was being parked, because, obviously there's going to be some shuffling when you, turn on the e-brake and things like that, of the arm moving. And then, definitely for things like walking. Anytime there's walking, you're going to hear shuffling of pants along with those footsteps. This is also, the characters don't sound like floating heads. That's the worst thing. Unless your script calls for actual floating heads, you don't want people to sound like floating heads. So let's listen to them get up and move, right? Odessa's, taking off a seatbelt here. Cal gets up first, starts going to the door. Odessa follows. There we go.
Check it out.
Hell yeah.
Stay here, boy.
You heard the leather of the seats as they were getting up. There's a guitar here that Odessa is picking up on the way out. And you heard Mac, the dog, his little feetsies on the floor, along with the jingle of his chain. Or jingle of the collar, not a chain. All right. Now, I want you to pay attention to what happens when this door opens and how we're now shifting the scene from looking at them from inside the van to now them getting outside the van. All right?
Stay here, boy.
All right. So this is really important. I'm going to put the camera back on me because why not? All right. So this is like the real exciting stuff. So what's happening there is what happens when you get out of a van and it's raining. All right. You're first hearing the rain hitting the van, that water on reverberant metal. And then we open the door, and what will you hear when you open a van door? You're going to hear those raindrops hitting a bunch of other stuff, just like, the environment, external from the van. So not only are you hearing raindrops hitting the van, you're hearing raindrops outside of the van. Okay? All right. So how do we shift those sounds now? Because, of course, once you hop out of the van, you're not going to hear the raindrops hitting the van from inside anymore. You're also going to hear those raindrops hitting it from outside. So whereas before, you were hearing those raindrops, internally from the van, now you're hearing them hitting the van externally, and you're hearing those raindrops hitting the environment of everything else, right? So now we have 3 raindrop sounds, all right? Okay, let's break that down, and we'll hear them individually. Okay. All right. So we already heard this interior rain sound a little bit. Right? It's a little dull and reverberant. It's not as sharp. But when you get outside, that rain hitting the van is going to sound much sharper because you're not hearing it from inside the van, right? You're not going to hear that reverberance. So you hear that? It's just, it's a lot sort of, it's harder. It's harder on that metal, or at least it sounds that way because you're on the outside. All right. And then we have the rain hitting everything in the environment. Say leaves of trees and ground and stuff, right? Okay, And all together, let's just hear those rain sounds together, those three. Okay, now with everything going on. Okay, now what's also happening is as they're, sloshing around, walking towards the lodge, the rain that you hear hitting the car right here is also getting quieter. It's also getting pulled farther to the left side of our ear as they're walking away. I'm sort of envisioning if this was a movie, here, I'll put this on me again. Okay, so they've hopped out of the van, right? And imagine here we have now the van on my left side. They've hopped out of it, boop, boop, and they're walking away towards the lodge, which is on the right. So as they're walking, that sound of the rain hitting the van is going to get quieter. It's also going to get, pulled away, not on the center where our characters are, because they're moving. Also, that interior sound of the rain hitting the van, that's going to go away as soon as you close the van door, right? What I had when they jumped out of the van before closing the door was when they jumped out, that water that you can, the rain that you hear interior to the van also moves to the left. So, we have the van opening, a bunch of stuff happening in the right of our ear a little bit, which is, hearing a little bit of the rain hitting the external of the van as well as the rain hitting the environment, everything else a little to the right center. And then we have the rain that we're listening to in the interior of the van moving a little to the left as they jump out of the van. Because I want these objects to, sound like the place that they're in. Because obviously, if they jumped out of the van and we were still hearing that internal van rain sound center to our ears, it would sound as if the van also moved when they jumped out of it, which that doesn't make sense. So I have it sort of like, stay to the left of our ear, which I do by moving that sound more left to make them sound like they've jumped out of the van to the right. And then when the van door shuts, that internal rain sound of the van disappears. You only hear the rain hitting the van externally and the rain hitting everything around us. All right. Now let's listen to them slosh over to the lodge and see what's happening there. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to play it as they shut the door. You're going to hear that internal van rain sound disappear. You can see it right here. I, have a little fade out right there. And the other stuff, is getting louder and more pronounced as they move out of the van. Okay, so they open the van. Okay, so what was going on there? All right, we're sloshing in the mud. Great sound. Let's just listen to these footsteps. We'll just listen to one, not both of them together. Okay. You'll notice that I have each character a little bit to the side of each other, one a little to the left, one a little to the right, because, I want you to be able to distinguish a little bit sonically where they are, where their positions are. And, they're not going to sound both in the center, because then that would sound like they're walking on top of each other, which they are not. And so they're sloshing around a little bit to, here's both of them. All right. Sloshing around, little to the left, little to the right. And as they're walking, like I said before, the sound of the rain hitting the van is getting quieter, and it's also being pulled more to the left of our ear. What's coming up on the right now is the sound of a lively pub. Now, this is a lively lodge. This is a lodge with its door closed, so it's not going to sound. The sounds aren't going to sound so pronounced. They're going to sound a little muffled. So I have this, this is a pub in York, London, that is the sounds of our lodge patrons, and I have the piano. So let's see. Let's hear our lodge patrons through a door, which would make them sound muffled. Right? And we have our piano also sounding muffled because it's you're hearing it behind a door. Okay. And as they're getting closer, they're walking here. Here's you can hear the movement. Here's the movement of just the walking without the footsteps. Right, when you get that plus footsteps. Okay, so they're walking, both of them. Okay, so they're walking. The lodge sounds, which the lodge I'm envisioning is sort of to the right. And as they're getting closer, it's both getting louder and it's going from far right to closer to the center of our head, right? So not only that, but when they open the door, those pub sounds, all right, let's compare them. Here's the pub sound that was muffled. It's going to get, I'm going to fade that out, and I'm going to fade up the sound of the York pub, so the lodge patrons, more pronounced. Okay? So let's just hear those two together. You see that? Same with the piano. So here we have our piano, right? And then where is our piano sound? Oops. Doot, doot. All right. All right. Our piano muffled. And then when the door opens, So the piano is still off at the corner to our right, but it's not muffled anymore. It's you're hearing live piano. So, as they're walking in, that piano is going to get closer to the center as opposed to far in the right of the ear. And, not only that, we have a few things that happen when you go into a lodge from outside. One, we have a fireplace. Right? That's close to the piano. Then we also have the rain from outside becoming muffled, whereas it was, very loud hitting all the environment stuff. When they close the door, that rain, now that becomes muffled. Also, as they move far away from the door, where you can really hear that muffled rain, as they're going more inside of the lodge, that rain sound is being pulled to the left of our left ear, because we're getting farther away from where it would sound, more pronounced. You'll still hear it in the lodge, even though you're not next to the door, but it'll be, somewhere off in the left ear and a little quieter. Okay? Let's listen to that again. Or even when they're not hearing the piano. Let's do that. Okay, so let's turn back to me again. All right, once again, we have a van pulling up. We have two people inside of the van, moving, shuffling around the van, opening that van door, jumping out, shutting the van door, all of that. We have the internal sounds of what's happening with them shuffling into the van. We also have to be mindful of, the rain that we're hearing hitting the van. One, hearing it from the interior, the other one hearing it exterior, as well as hitting the environment, everything around the van. They jump out, shut the door, walk over to the lodge. The piano and lively lodge patrons are getting louder and louder as we're getting closer. And I said, that lodge I placed more on the right ear. And then, but it's getting closer and closer to the center of our ears as we get closer. They open the door, boom, the blast of, the piano and the patrons is going to be not muffled anymore from the door. It's going to be louder. And, as they walk through and shut the door of that lodge, now the rain that they were in is going to sound muffled through the door. They walk in. The farther they go in, the more that those outside sounds get tossed to the left side of our ear and get quieter. That's pretty much it. Let me show you, this is the script again. Odessa, I'm pulling in. Van drives onto gravel, pulls into a stop. All right, they say some stuff. Van door opens and they hop out of the rain, Also right here where they were pulling in, they were hearing the piano on the radio instead of inside of the lodge. All right. They get out, van door opens, hop out of the rain, Mac whines, Mac the dog, and then footsteps as they walk up to the lodge. As they approach, they hear the piano again, this time live. They push open the door and the piano is there. There's some low chattering, an occasional laugh, some sizzles on the grill in the back, a fireplace, fire crackles cheerfully. So I don't have a grill in the back. I didn't do that. It'll make sense later. But I do have a fireplace. Low chattering, it's a little more lively than described here. It's not bustling, but, there's a good amount of people here. And that'll also make more sense when you, I think, listen to the show. And, there are occasional laughs and, yeah, you can hear the piano loud and clear. All right. So, how about we listen to it one more time? Now that you have all that in your head, one more time. All right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oops. Here to here, and then again.
I'm pulling in. You smell that?
Someone's grilling. Fuck, I'm hungry.
Let's check it out.
Hell yeah.
Stay here, boy.
All right. So, let's turn back to me. There you have it. Minute and 18 seconds of a scene in a later episode of Hearthbound that I really loved designing. There was just so many elements in it, from the actions of the characters, moving around, opening doors, walking, stuff like that, to the external sounds of, the different kinds of rain that's hitting stuff. I'm sorry if, there are some spoilers in here. Obviously, you're going to get that with behind-the-scenes content, but I don't think it was that crazy of spoilers. So I hope that even if things were spoiled, you still got a lot of enjoyment out of, listening to how something like this gets made. Definitely ask me any questions if you have any. Write some comments. Email me, whatever. And, I'll try to create more behind the scenes stuff for you. All right. Well, thanks so much for watching, listening, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.
Set her back.